Hey folks, Coach Matteo here from Marra Strength, and welcome back to the Losing 50 Pounds series. This is step number 3, where we're talking about how to actually set up the fat loss diet and start getting the scale moving in the right direction. Now, if you watched the previous video, you should have 2 weeks of maintenance dieting under your belt. You should know roughly how many calories your body is burning each and every day, and you should know how your body weight is responding to a given number of calories. So maybe you ate 2,000 calories for a week and your body weight remains stable. Fantastic. Now what we're gonna do is a fat loss diet where we intentionally reduce the amount of calories that you eat each day in an effort to help you lose roughly 0.5 to 1% of your body weight each week. So if you're 250 pounds, you're losing something like 1.25 pounds to 2.5 pounds per week. And we're gonna do this fat loss diet for 8 to 12 weeks. Cool? So how does this actually work? Well, if we know how many calories you burn each day, let's say it's 2,500, we just need to reduce that calorie intake by 500 to 1,000 per day. And that's gonna lead to roughly a 1-2 pound per week weight loss, or something like 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. We do that for 60 to 90 days, and you're gonna end up losing 5 to 10% of your total body weight. I know that doesn't sound like a ton, but if you're 250 pounds, that's 25 fucking pounds lost, which is no joke. That's the difference between a large and an extra large. That's the difference between you just being regular old Jonathan and people coming up to you at work and going, Jonathan, what the fuck have you been doing, man? It's falling off you. Your face looks different. Your belly looks different. You've unlocked a new wardrobe at this point. So don't discount what 5 to 10% weight loss can be over the next 2 to 3 months. So how do we do this fat loss diet? How many calories should we eat? You've got a couple of options here. Firstly, you can let MacroFactor figure this out for you. If you've been using MacroFactor watching the previous 2 videos, great. You can use my last name code Marra, M-A-R-R-A, at the checkout to get an extended free trial if you haven't been using MacroFactor. And you just literally push the fat loss button and it will spit out a calorie target for you. There's no guesswork. It'll adjust up or down based on your progress. Alternatively, if you've been using my body weight tracker and the calorie tracker that you can get for free on marrastrength.com, you just take your maintenance level of calories and you subtract 500 to 1,000 and get a rough estimate of how many you should be eating each day. I recommend you probably err on the side of a little bit more conservative, so 500, 750, probably a good place to start. Here's 6 tips for success on your first fat loss diet if this is your first one. Firstly, and most importantly, continue tracking your calories every single day. I mean, literally every single day. Keeping your calories in the right neighborhood is essentially the driver of your fat loss diet. It is the prime mover. It does absolutely all the heavy lifting for your fat loss diet. So if you fall off the tracking, none of this will work. You won't lose the weight, and that's fine because being over fat and overweight's cool too. But if you really do want to make this thing happen, track your food every single fucking day. Do your absolute best on that. By the way, I should mention that I run a group coaching program for guys who want to lose 50 pounds of body fat and keep it off for good. It's a 1-year-long program. Most guys lose their first 50 pounds in the first 6 to 9 months, and then we spend the remainder of the year just maintaining that fat loss. I set you up with all the workouts you need in a custom mobile application. I set you up with a simplified nutrition plan that follows this approach we're talking about. And we have weekly live Q&A calls where you can get live coaching and get your questions answered from me, in addition to weekly accountability check-ins where I check in on you, make sure you're doing all the right things. The energy in the group is absolutely fantastic, and I would love for you to join us. Just shoot me an email at matteo@marrastrength.com and put the word 50 in the subject line or somewhere in the body, and I'll find it and I'll send you all the details. All right, back to the video. Tip number 2, continue weighing yourself each day. Keep your body weight data front of mind. Like I said, it's very motivating. We talked about this in video 1, and we want to know that things are moving in the right direction. And if things aren't working, we want to know so we can adjust and move food up or down if we're losing, too quickly or too slowly. Tip number 3, keep eating plenty of healthy and filling foods, especially during a fat loss diet where we've reduced the energy intake that you're allowed to have. You want plenty of high fiber, high volume, super filling foods. Think about it. 2,000 calories of McDonald's. Bro, I just opened the bag at McDonald's. I breathe in, that's 2,000 calories. Gone like that. I don't feel full. I'm ready to eat another fucking bag. 2,000 calories of steak, potatoes, broccoli, and olive oil. That's an event, man. I gotta put on a soundtrack. I gotta unbuckle my pants. It's gonna take me some time. I might not even finish it, right? So continuing to eat mostly healthy and filling foods is an absolute superpower for a fat loss diet that most people just don't consider to be all that important. Tip number 4, if dropping your calories by 500 to 1,000 per day scares you too much, that's fine. Go gradual. Start with 500. Let's say your maintenance level is 2,500 per day. Start with an intake of 2,000. See how that goes for a week or 2. If you're losing weight and feeling good and you're happy with the rate of weight loss, fantastic, amazing. If you're losing weight, you're feeling good and you're like, you know what, I could push a little bit harder, try 1750 for the remaining 2 weeks or the next 2 weeks. See how things go, adjust up or down based on your progress and how things are feeling. Alternatively, you don't need to do this all from your diet. You can also maybe add in a little bit more activity. Maybe we can start adding in a nightly walk. Maybe you can add in 30 minutes of cardio on the elliptical 2 or 3 days a week to help continue to create that deficit without reducing your food further and further, because sometimes it just pays to actually do a little bit more activity instead of just losing more weight, or eating less rather. Tip number 5, feeling hungry is totally okay. And it's normal and to be expected as part of a fat loss diet. You should go check out my video on sustainability. I think it's called The Smartest Way to Get Lean in 2024. If you want to see more about this whole sustainability thing and hunger, just know that it's totally normal. And if you start feeling hungry within the first week of your diet, that's totally normal response to eating less food, right? Your body wants to maintain homeostasis. It wants to just keep you right where you're at, nice and happy and well fed. So when you start pulling a little bit of food away, you're gonna get a little bit of friction, maybe a little bit of pushback from your body, but that's totally fine as long as it's something you can manage for the next 8 to 12 weeks. You're totally cool with it. This is not forever. You are just getting in to do this fat loss diet, and then you're gonna be done, as we'll talk about in the next video. But just know that diet fatigue, or this rising level of hunger, maybe moodiness and irritability, maybe you get a little bit of sleep disturbances, and you just become increasingly food focused and thinking a little bit more about food along the way. That is a totally normal response to dieting. And just know that as you get into that 6-week, 8-week, 12-week period of your diet, you may even push beyond 12 weeks, and that's totally fine too. Just know that that diet fatigue will rise and rise and rise, and that's a totally normal part of the process that we need to expect and consider. It's very real, and it's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's just part of the game. And in the next video, we're gonna discuss how to drop that fatigue so that you can lose more fat instead of just falling off the wagon when you get hungry and regaining the weight. If you have any questions about how to set up this fat loss diet, please leave those in the comments below and I'll answer it when I see it. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Matteo and I will see you in the next video, step number 4.